Howdy, 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 and thank you for joining me here on this Thursday night, everybody. So, we're bringing back an old friend of the channel, someone that we love having on. He's a great friend, a real asset in the community, and has a really great growing channel. If you get a chance, get over there and check it out. He has a new channel that he has opened. We're going to let him talk about that and explain it to us. So, without further ado, let's bring in our friend, Mark Fisher. Hey, how's it going, bud?
Hi, John. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for joining me.
Glad to be here. I'm wearing my Mofo Mark T-shirt.
There you go. Now, where do you you use Fourth Wall, or what do you use?
Yeah, Fourth Wall. If you go to our channel, below the chat, like right on this one right now, below the comments, this T-shirt's available there if you want to get it. It's got the Mofo Mark logo, and then on the back, it's got our Scientology stories peeling the onion, like a small logo up by the neck area.
And I see our friend Apostate Alex is in the house too.
Hey, Alex. And I've got also the matching coffee mug too.
Oh, yep. I got on my Fourth Wall channel, we've got the ever popular Roscoe Approves mug, which most people seem to love. So,
yeah.
There he goes. We need to do a collab T-shirt, Mofo Poe.
Mofo Poe on the go.
And Roscoe is sitting at my feet, everybody. So you'll hear odd noises coming from down there as he's playing with his toys and everything. But he is here. So what is new with Mark Fisher?
Well, I mean, we just did a little video this afternoon, live with Janice. She's going on a cruise for the next 3 weeks in Europe and North Africa. And it's kind of cool because she's going with about 14 or 15 people. A lot of them are former Scientology people, and they're starting in Lisbon in Portugal, and then they're going down to Morocco and then to Spain, ending up in Barcelona. But they're going to go to several ports that the flagship Apollo used to go to when Janice was a young girl on the ship working for L. Ron Hubbard. And so that should be interesting. And, she's going to see if there's places that she remembers and all that. But it should be a fun trip. She's got her, her camera phone. And then I had her buy a gimbal selfie stick, one that you can hold and then it'll turn by pushing a button. Yep. So she's got that, and she's going to try and do some videos and then upload them to me. And then I'll try and share them on our channel.
Which one? Did she get the DJI?
I have no idea. We literally just picked one off of Amazon that looked good, that wasn't super expensive, and so she got that one too. But so anyway, we did that, and then the other thing too is you see on the scroll down below, I started just for fun last week. I started a channel called Las Vegas Travel and More. And, we do all the Scientology stuff all the time. And I thought, well, why don't I do a channel that's kind of fun? I love to travel, and I've lived in Las Vegas for over 30 years. And I thought, well, a lot of people like to come here. I can do videos of, places to go, things to see, restaurants to eat at, and all that. So I started it. And I mentioned it last week when we did a live stream with Apostate Alex and Robin Scott on our channel. The address, and in one day I got 252 subscribers from our loyal viewers on our channel, our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion. So anyway, so I'm now only up to about 275, but I want, my goal is to get it up to 1,000 subscribers and get up to the viewing hours and all that. And then it's basically just a fun little channel for me to do this and to impart information that I think people will enjoy. And then I thought I'd add to it by doing interviews like with Janice. She's going on her trip, and when she comes back, we'll do another interview on that. And then also other people that I know when they travel to different places and show their photographs, and just kind of like a little fun community travel thing. So anyway, so that channel's it's called Mark Fisher's Las Vegas Travel and More, and that's that you see scrolling there at MFisherLV. Yeah, I would appreciate anybody that's in here, if you would subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yes, definitely get over there and check it out. I've been looking at it. There's a lot of great a lot of great content there. As like we were talking about, it's been probably 20 years since the wife and I were in Vegas, and until this trip that got canceled, thank you Frontier Airlines. We were really looking forward to coming back. We just didn't know how much the city had changed since we'd been there before.
Yeah, it's actually changed quite a bit. I mean, when I first, everybody always says, "Oh, yeah, it was much better back then." Oh, yeah, it's much better back then. But it's really true in Las Vegas. I mean, it's still fabulous here,
Right.
but nowhere near as inexpensive as it used to be. It's everything's these casinos after the COVID. Well, actually, no, before that, after the financial crash in 2008, 2009, when basically the bottom dropped out, they started lowering down you know the cheap things, so all the cheap meals and the buffets and all that, and the buffets have almost completely gone now after the COVID shut down.
Yeah.
Back, but you used to be able to go have dinner at a buffet for like $6.99 or $8.99, all you could eat buffet for dinner. Well, now the only buffets that are in town, they're like $65 for dinner, and they're very expensive. But I'll give you a good example though. I had some friends who were staying at the Paris Hotel down the Strip, and they wanted recommendations. Where can we go eat breakfast? And I said, how about your hotel? And they said, oh, we had bacon and eggs, and yesterday for breakfast at the coffee shop at the Paris Hotel. For two of us, it was $60. I went,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
$60? So I said, oh, no, you got to go to my favorite restaurant in Las Vegas. It's called Blueberry Hill. They got like 3 or 4 locations, but my favorite one is over by me. But anyway, you go there. It's an old East Coast diner. It's literally open
That's
24 hours a day.
Oh,
They make
greasy spoon.
everything from scratch. Everything from scratch. They bake all their cakes and pies from scratch. The pancakes are to die for. Literally, it's on my list if I ever go to prison. And it's my final meal is
Right.
pancakes from Blueberry Hill, because they make the best buttermilk pancakes from scratch, right?
Oh, you haven't had
So
mine yet. You need to calm down there, buddy.
okay,
So,
okay, but anyway, so like you can go there and get 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 sausage, 2 pancakes, right?
wow.
$12. I mean, that's reasonable. $12,
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, so that's the type of thing I'm going to be doing on the little travel channel. So I hope people enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one of our big things. Wherever we go, we like mom and pops. And that was one of our biggest complaints about how Florida has turned nowadays. It seems that everything is turning into the chain kind of things. And we're like, well, I can go to an Applebee's right back home. Why am I going to
Right.
one here? And, the places that we used to go to that we loved, they're no longer there anymore. They have so many regulations and everything that have just shut down a lot of the mom and pops. And
Yeah.
we're the kind that we like to get off the strip, and we like to get off into the side roads and things like that. How is Vegas now with the crime problems? Is it still about the same?
Well, it's the same, but we have downtown, which is the downtown near the Fremont Street area, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of homeless shelters and things down there, and so there's a lot of people on the streets down there. But they keep track of it. It's not you don't ever really get bothered by it because the casinos don't like it,
Oh, yeah.
And then also on Fremont Street is a walking street with the light show canopy
Oh, I
over the
love
top.
it. Yeah.
And you get street performers there who you can take photographs with them. They're dressed up like showgirls or Ant-Man or whatever, and that they can't regulate, so they're there. But as far as the handouts you mentioned about all the X-rated stuff, that's gone. They don't have that anymore going on.
Yeah, that was such a pain in the butt. You literally couldn't walk 2 steps without somebody trying to shove these handouts in your hands.
Yeah, and then they littered them all over the street because people just pick them up and just drop them. But no, I just did a video on my channel that I just did yesterday of the top 10 spots to go in Vegas, and I think 5 or 6 of them were free. You know what I mean? There wasn't like, oh, you got to go, but you got to pay all this money. No, I mean, you can go to Fremont Street, it's free. You can go to the Strip, it's free. You can go to Red Rock Canyon, it's free. There's a lot of the Bellagio fountains is a big deal, and that's free. The big thing we've got going on here is we've got the Formula One race that's going to be happening for the first time on the Strip in November, literally 4 weeks from now, and it's going to be a road course that goes down the Strip and all that. But anyway, they've been prepping for it by repaving the asphalt and putting up barriers for the last 3 months. Okay. And they've also built like a huge building that all the paddocks and the pit stops are going to be at, which they paid for and they bought. But to repave with special pavement, asphalt, special asphalt for the race, it was $40 million. Okay. And they wanted the county to pay half of it, But anyway, it's going to be a nightmare here for the next 3 weeks because now they're putting up all the light stanchions and the protective barriers, but they've got grandstands up in front of the Bellagio and all that. And that's going to be like a 3 or 4 day event. And they're expecting it's going to bring $1 billion into Las Vegas. And then we've got the other thing. COVID. Yeah. And then in February, we have the Super Bowl here for the first time. So that'll be cool.
Wow. Yeah. Someone was asking me about the big game coming up Saturday. I don't pay attention to professional sports. The only ones I really watch anymore are I'll watch like Australian rules football or something like that. But MMA, of course, I love that stuff. But
they have that here. UFC is based here.
Oh yeah, I know. That's one of the things I want to do is I want to get back. I've been to a few of the UFCs. I was there for the first one in Detroit that they did, and a few others. And of course, I made quite a few of the events over in Japan, Pride, and the different events over there. And I actually fought in Japan a few times. So it was that was back then. This was back before the whole revolution when they banned MMA throughout the world. And then Dana White comes in, takes over the UFC, and completely rebuilds the MMA world. Well, back in those days, it was the no gloves, no holds barred, no weight divisions, things like that. And it was crazy because you get to Japan and they would put you in, and they used rings. They weren't using cages over there. They would put you in the ring with a guy who was 5'4", 160 pounds. And here I am at that point in my life, I was 325 pounds and I'm 6'2" tall. So, here I come in, I'm all bulked out because I'm a power lifter and a wrestler. And I'm going in against this little guy, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And they're just like, "Yeah, you sign the contract, fight." So it was some crazy stuff. And
I'll tell you an interesting UFC story. Here in Las Vegas, right before Dana White and the Fertittas bought UFC, there was MMA fighting and that type of thing, right? Anyway, I'm sure because you probably follow this or whatever, but there was a company called Science. XYIENCE, and it was a sponsor of MMA and then UFC or whatever. Well, Janice's husband, Paul Grady, he was one of the main people in Science who developed like their energy drink or whatever. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? And so they invested in the Science, right? Anyway, it's actually a bad story because when they went in, the Fertittas went in to buy it. They bought Science, the company. Then they applied for bankruptcy protection to get rid of all of the investors that were involved in it, including Janice and Paul. And so basically they walked away with the company, and Janice and Paul, they didn't get anything for their time or Paul's time in there. And so they basically took it, And then, of course, Dana White, and they built up UFC, and then it got sold for like $4 billion. And, UFC is the biggest thing going here in Vegas. They have a huge complex here now on the 215 and stuff. And, more power to them. They're bringing in a lot of money and all that. That was a connection. Paul Grady, Janice's husband.
They sell out every event they do there, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's big stuff. And One Love, yes. Many, like we're talking like 94, 95. I had over 20 professional MMA fights.
Wow.
So record of 18-2. My first fight was my first loss. I got my orbital spider webbed for me and my nose broken. Took about 6 months off, got myself back in shape, and started learning boxing, then Muay Thai, went back at it. And I think I had about 10 more fights before I lost again. And that was in Japan. They put me in there with this Russian monster who was, it was a good fight. We both come out and we were like, whoa. But, after that, I won 18, lost 2, but then it became illegal. There was nothing you could do. And you got to remember, One Love, back in those days, I was a grappler. I'm a catch wrestler, is what I learned from my father from professional wrestling. So I learned catch wrestling, which is a very aggressive form of submission grappling. And whereas we don't concentrate on the chokes and things like that, we're working on manipulations. We want the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder. We want the knees, the hips, those kinds of things. We're big on toe holds, ankle locks, those kinds of things. So you take a guy like me that's a grappler and had been training in this since I was about 7 years old, add on to it that I had already had about 6 months of Muay Thai training. So it became pretty effective. A lot of guys came in and they were basically like, I'm a Taekwondo guy. And you're just like, oh man, this isn't even going to be long enough to even watch. And then, so once you actually meet up with somebody, when I met up with the Russian, he was a Sambo guy, which is the Russian form of submission grappling. Plus they learn a lot of striking in their military. So it was a great fight. We came out beat half to death, both of us. And it was without a doubt the most fun fight I ever had. But yeah, I paid the price for it. But yeah, that was so. Yeah, a lot of people are asking about the MMA stuff. It was fun, but completely different era. These guys nowadays, they'd smoke me no problem at all.
I just remember in junior high school, when you had to do wrestling. You know how you did different sports during physical education, and we had to do wrestling. Oh my God, I never got so tired in my life than when you're on the mat and then somebody's on you and you're trying to get out. You're wiped out in like no time. You just the endurance these guys have is amazing.
That was one of the things is we had the with me, my dad started teaching me. My dad did a lot of professional wrestling, and he started training me at the YMCA. That's where they would go. They would literally throw mats on the floor and they would go in and just do, start working all the different maneuvers and everything. And my dad actually broke my ankle twice during the time my father was a horribly abusive man, and he had a lot of issues. He had been a Green Beret in Vietnam, and he came out and there was truly a lot of PTSD. And he, even though if you saw him in public, he looked like this great family guy. He was this awesome person, but then you throw him into something like that, and his true person came out when he was alone with me, especially. So, but yeah, he learned from a guy named Gorgeous George and another pro wrestler named Furple. If I had to look Furple up for quite a while before I could find him. But they did what was called the 75, the I-75 corridor, and they literally started at the top of Michigan, went all the way down I-75, hitting all the different promotions along the way, and it was some really, really interesting times.
I'll tell you a quick wrestling story. When I was a kid, we lived in Hawaii. I was from age 6 till age 10, and this is from 1964 to 1968. Well, there was no professional sports in Hawaii, but there was professional wrestling, and it was on TV every Saturday. And we watched it. I watched it. My friends, we watched it religiously to the point where we actually went to a couple of the matches that they would have at like Pearl Harbor and the different bases and stuff. But that was the time of Bruno Sammartino and Chief Billy White Wolf and all these different wrestlers. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Anyway, it's just a funny story. Russ Francis, who was a professional tight end for the New England Patriots and a Pro Bowler, he just died like about a week or so ago. His dad was a guy named Ed Francis, who was a wrestler and also one of the showmen, the guy on the mic. And he was the guy over in Hawaii, his father, Ed Francis. But I thought it was for real, but we would go. Oh my God, we had so much fun. I even went on the Saturday TV show once in the audience, when they'd do a TV show, have one match, and the guy would be
Well, I can remember Sunday mornings waking up the night after they had the big show, and they would generally be at like the Light Guard Armory. Here's our buddy Chad's.
Hey, so Chad is here.
But I remember I'd wake up on Sunday mornings and our living room would be littered with professional wrestlers sleeping on the floor, on the couch, in the chair. And, the first few times it's kind of shocking. And then we learned that these guys were coming over because my mom would make these outlandish breakfasts for everybody. So I got pictures of me sleeping on Andre the Giant's chest when I was
Oh
about
my
10 years
gosh.
old. It was
Wow.
some of the coolest stuff. And, and he was just the biggest. He was a big teddy
Human
bear.
being.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's the biggest human around. Yeah.
But he was
I
so sweet. Really good to children.
I dropped wrestling until like the late 1990s when somebody
Mhm.
turned me on to WWE Raw or whatever Monday night,
Yeah.
and I fell in love with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is my favorite wrestler of all time, and that was when The Rock was just getting started, but Stone Cold was my man. They had the Undertaker, and so I started watching the shows. And the reason I started watching them because they did outrageous things like
Oh yeah.
Vince McMahon would pull up in his Corvette and then he'd go inside, and then here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin backing up a cement truck, and they'd fill the Corvette up with cement. I mean, they did crazy stuff, and it was so outrageous. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I was here in Detroit when they did the big monster truck stuff on top of the Joe Louis Arena parking structure. Yeah, there was some crazy times. I got to it was good stuff. It was the crazy stuff, of course, when MMA folded, of course, the next logical step was go into the professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing a show in Osaka, Japan. And it was Tokyo. First time I'd been over for that. And the guys that I was going over with, they're like, look, the Japanese really believe this stuff. They believe your character is who you really are. And I'll never forget coming out because there were no barricades, there were no stanchions or anything like that. The crowd was literally right there in front of you. You walked through the crowd to get to the ring. Very orderly, very nice. You didn't have the problems like here in America, someone would rush up and pour something over your head or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I remember walking out. I didn't even do an intro on the mic because, we didn't know if anybody was going to understand what we were saying or not. So I come out and my character, of course, was a heel. And as I'm coming through the crowd, they're really believing that I am this heel. They had shown all these promos of all of us from wrestling in America. And I was doing a lot of the hardcore stuff at that time. And they kept showing this one where I was working this guy and I put a trash can over him, a metal trash can over him. And I did a spinning heel kick and literally folded the trash can in two. And everybody, they just kept showing that and all these commercials and everything. So when I came running out, people were literally falling over themselves trying to get away from me because they truly believed that I was that person.
Wow.
But
that's money.
Oh,
they didn't know what a teddy bear you were.
Oh yeah, they didn't know. I mean, ask my kids. My daughter.
How did you like Japan? Japan, I've been there twice.
Absolutely love it.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And I want to go back.
That's one of the
that's one of the trips I want to do. I've only been to like Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka, right? I want to do a rail. I want to get a rail pass, take the bullet train all over the
Shinkansen.
Yeah.
Take that.
I want to do that because Japan, I've always been fascinated with. My favorite book I've ever read of all time, which I've read like 5 times, is Shogun by James Clavell.
Oh, it's not Battlefield
page. No.
Oh, that's your favorite movie.
Shogun is so much better. But anyway, so I've just always been enamored with Japanese culture and Japan. So I want to go back. It's an amazing place.
I've always had the great interest in Japan, the Japanese culture, the people and everything. The food, we love the food. But the thing was actually going there and experiencing it. And you talk about truly falling in love. My daughter's actually looking at, she wants to move over there. She wants to move outside of the big city areas. She want to stay in more of the small cities and go over there and teach English. And I think that's something that she's going to be really good at. She loves it. She's like me. She's absolutely Japan hooked. Yeah. And I love the for me, I love all of Asia. Southeast Asia, I like more. Who was it? Free Zeno was asking. Yes, I've been to China. I've been to Shanghai, Beijing, and Guangdong. Um, the problem is right now is that what's going on over there. I don't know if I would even be allowed in the country at this point because I've said things that the party doesn't really like. So I doubt I would even be allowed to go in there. Uh, as for
I've
right
been to
now,
Hong Kong. I've been to Hong Kong, and I'd love to go to Shanghai
Hong
and
Kong.
pay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even think about that as, now it's been taken back by Japan. When I went there, it was still I think it was under British rule at that time. So it was different than it is now. But yeah, Hong Kong, amazing city, but so expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But see, then you go there and it's real expensive. But then you go to Thailand and it's so inexpensive. I think Thai baht is right now is like 35, 36 Thai baht to the dollar. I've been there when it was 40. I've been there when it was 40 baht to the dollar. You literally could get a hotel suite for like $50 a night. I mean, it's just the amount, how cheap it is over there is amazing. And the people are fantastic. Sorry, that's my dog. I'm just going to mute myself.
Roscoe.
That's okay. It's a Las Vegas dog.
Yeah. when I went to this last time when I was in Malaysia, the Thai baht was 45 to every $1. And I'm in Malaysia where it's 4 Malaysian ringgit to $1, and I could be in Thailand where it's 45 baht to every dollar. Great.
Yeah.
So.
And then I've experienced the other one. I know Apostate Alex asked me if I've ever been to the UK. Yeah, I went to London once. I went to London on vacation to see London. And I went in February, which is one of the coldest months of the year. But I could fly round trip on Virgin Air nonstop from Vegas. They have a nonstop every day. British Airways has a nonstop everywhere. But anyway, I could fly round trip then for like $430. So I was like, I'm doing that. But anyway, I loved London, right? But it was so cold. But it's really funny because the taxi cab drivers, where are you from? I'm from Las Vegas. And they go, that's where we go to double our money. And I said, what do you mean? They go, well, £1 is worth $2. You know what I mean, over there. So as soon as we show up over there, all of our money's worth twice as much.
And that's how I feel getting to Thailand. But the difference is in Thailand, it's so much less expensive all around, not just the value of the currency. Yeah. I was showing on one of my videos, I show where I go out I was going out every morning and getting a coconut smoothie. And then I got this bowl of noodles and whatever kind of meat I wanted, soup. And I was literally paying less than $1 for all of it combined. Yeah. And and just the nicest people in the world treat you just beautifully. Let's see. We got a couple other questions that point up. Is there still the free bus that goes up and down the strip to Old Vegas? I didn't know there was one.
They have like a shuttle. They have a free shuttle that's provided that takes you just around the downtown area to different places. Absolutely. Yeah. The city of Las Vegas runs that.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they, because when we were there, we got the bus pass, the 24-hour bus pass, and then we got, you could have got I think we got a 3-day bus pass, and then back then we saw that they still have it, but it's not as many places. The 24-hour buffet pass, which was really
anymore.
What's that?
Oh wow!
No, they don't have that anymore. But I will say this on buses: the buses are dangerous now. The actual city buses. Okay. I mean, they have armed guards on some of these buses because of the people that are on them. It's just crazy, I mean, but it's so cheap to take a Lyft or an Uber. The nice thing about Las Vegas is everything is close. Like the airport is right near the strip. It's not like 40 minutes away, and so you can go up and down the Las Vegas strip. It's like 4 or 5 miles. It's not really that far. So you can actually get around much better at that. There's also, we have a monorail too that runs behind a bunch of the hotels. But of course I don't ever take advantage of that because I live here, so.
Right. Yeah,
I'll tell you the biggest thing that we locals hate is that the casinos several years ago they did away with free parking. Okay. And so literally you have to pay $15 to park in their garages, right? Well, who's the people that scares away? It's the locals. We don't want to go down there and pay $15 just to park our car. You know,
That's
it's just
crazy.
crazy.
You know,
It's just like the airline. It's just like the airlines charging for carry-on bags. I mean, come on.
Well, that was one of the things I've never flown for Frontier Air. My daughter worked for them for a while.
Oh yeah, you told
And
me this horror story.
yeah, well, it wasn't till after, the day of the flight, the kids get over here and I'm talking to our daughter. What's that?
Oh, just I'm Wendy Moore. She's saying
Oh, okay.
aloha, brah, and I'm saying I'm giving her the shock of
Oh, aloha.
hang loose.
Yeah, I do the hang loose.
Hang loose.
Yeah. But the thing is that my daughter comes over, she goes, wait a minute, we're flying Frontier. And I go, yeah. And she goes, you need to get on there and you need to pay for our checked baggage. And I'm like, what? And so I went and I looked. I didn't realize it because I'm so used to I fly ANA, Air Japan, and Delta because I've been doing all these international trips. And I find out that, yeah, we've got to pay for any kind of baggage that we're taking on except for one carry-on. And I'm just like, oh, this is great. And it ended up costing us, I think we did upgrades to where we could sit towards the front of the plane in the bigger chairs and everything. It ended up costing us almost $1,000 more just to add on checked baggage and all that for Frontier. Oh, it's crazy. And we're still fighting it. We had to, we're actually going through a credit card company and fighting the charges because I've gone through Travelocity and I can't get a response from them. And we had travel insurance on it, but the travel insurance says they won't process it till we can show proof that the flight was canceled. Frontier won't provide us that proof. And they've then not responded to any of my emails or anything. So we're fighting everything. So let's see here. One Love. If you're Tokyo, Osaka, or Kyoto are going to be your most expensive places. Outside of those areas, things are not nearly as bad as everyone thinks it is in Japan. So, and plus now.
Last time I was there, like 2016, actually the dollar was pretty close to the yen. It was almost like 1-to-1, like it had gone. But I've been there before where the dollar was not worth very much over in Japan. So it totally depends.
Right now, the $1 US is 150 Japanese yen.
Okay, last time I was there was 100 yen. You know what I mean? So it's obviously gotten worse because with inflation and everything. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty much 1-to-1. I haven't been over there with it being the first time I took the wife and kids. Yeah, it was 100 yen to $1 US. Let's see. This is from Elizabeth H. Mark, you and Janice and Peter blew after the flood of 1990. Did other members blow immediately after the flood? Wondering if it was triggered by the mass exodus from INT.
Yes, there were other people who blew after the flood. Two friends of ours, Gene and Cheryl Detcheff, they left separately about a month or so after we left, and then they eventually ended up with us here in Las Vegas. There were other people who left. A guy named Jeff Walker, who was one of the senior case supervisors international, he left and he came to work with us in Las Vegas. We had several people that did, and that was a major incident that caused a lot of people to go, "This is crazy," Now,
where does Wendy live in Hawaii?
I don't know.
My wife was just there back at the beginning of the year, and she stayed in Waikiki, I believe it is.
That's my favorite place to go in the United States. I want to do a trip. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I've been there, but I love going to Hawaii. Hawaii's paradise. I mean, you can't get better weather than that. It's actually better than Southeast Asia because it doesn't have the humidity like it does down there, but It's just gorgeous.
Not to mention, Mark, you have the perfect shirts to go down there. Am I right?
That's right. I got all those.
I forgot to wear a Hawaiian shirt tonight.
I was going to, and then I thought, no, I'm going to wear my
I'm just kind of randomly wearing one.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's what you wear 24. That's your uniform.
I do kind of go out sometimes by accident with these shirts on.
Yeah.
I wear, I have them because I wear them. I was doing mortgages. That's what I wore to the office. You know what I mean? When I went out to the local bar or restaurant, I wore Hawaiian shirts. That kind of was my style. It's really funny. I have a favorite dive bar. I haven't since COVID. I haven't really been going out. too much. But I had a favorite dive bar downtown in Las Vegas called Hogs and Heifers. Wow. And it's a motorcycle bar, but it's totally, it's totally, right. It's a great place. I met my attorney there. I was going there. I'm a regular there for about 14 years now. Okay. Wow. Like literally it's my Cheers bar. If I walk in there, my first drink's always free when I walk in because I know the owner. I know everybody, right?
That's
but
awesome.
but it's, I used to wear my Hawaiian shirts and they made fun of me. The security guys were all like, huge, like, and what are you wearing a Hawaiian shirt for? And I said, because you can spot me in a crowd in here because everybody's wearing black.
Yeah. And they are very comfortable, aren't they?
That was one of the things that's always killed me. I've ridden motorcycles since I was a child. And, with the Harley culture or the hog culture, because it's not just the Harley culture anymore. It's the, you got people riding all the different makes nowadays, but the black and all that. And, people used to give me strange looks because I'd be riding and I'd have a yellow t-shirt on, a red t-shirt or something like that. And people would just be like, why aren't you wearing black? And I just, it drives me nuts. You take these guys that, they're working in an office Monday through Friday. They're getting ready to go to something like Bike Week or something. So a month out, they'll stop shaving, get all scruffy and everything. And you can always tell because they're the ones who have the really nice, pretty leather vests that they've either put on a chain behind their bike or something like that and rode down the road. But you could tell that they were intentionally making them look bad just so that they could try to be a bad guy when they got to Bike Week and stuff.
I'll tell you two other funny stories about Hogs and Heifers, right? Mm-hmm. When and this one has to do with wrestling, professional wrestling. Okay. First time I went in there was right after the crash. When the economy crashed, I was in the mortgage business. I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost everything. I needed an inexpensive place where I could go socialize. And I found this place, Hogs and Heifers. If anybody's seen the movie Coyote Ugly, where the bartenders dance in the bar, that's based off Hogs and Heifers in New York City. And then the owner came and opened up Hogs and Heifers here in Las Vegas. And she's a good friend of mine. Anyway, so I walked in there and all the security guys, I didn't know anything really about professional wrestling, but all the security guys are 6'4", 300 pounds, you know what I mean? Big security shirts, right? And they kept calling me, hey, man, you're Bobby the Brain. You're Bobby the Brain. I went,
yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You don't know Bobby the Brain Heenan?
Yeah.
I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So one of them pulled up a photo on the phone one time when I came in. He showed it to me. And I could see I looked like Bobby the Brain Heenan because of my blonde hair parted at the center and everything.
Wow.
I didn't even think about that. I'm trying to find a good image of it so we can use. And yeah,
that's my doppelganger. Apparently, other people say I look like John Madden. I don't see that, but Bobby the Brain. When I saw the picture, I saw a picture of him in a tuxedo when he was younger with blonde hair parted in the center. I went, yeah, it kind of looks like me.
And he did a lot of he wore I think he also wore the Hawaiian shirts as well. So
he was a manager, right? Yeah, there you go.
Well, he started off like everybody. He was a wrestler back in his earlier years and then got into managing. I think he got hurt or something like that. But yeah, that's where he started, was as an actual wrestler. But yeah,
what does everybody think? Do I kind of look like Bobby the Brain?
Yeah, you do.
That's crazy. Well, one love is your twin. So
then I dressed up for him as Halloween, like the following year at Hogs and Heifers. I wore a suit and all that, and I was Bobby the Brain Heenan.
So
then you reminded me of another funny story too. One of the bartenders there she was from New York City. She was in town visiting, right? And she walked up to me, literally, totally serious. She goes, oh, I idolized you when I was growing up. My brother and I watched you every Saturday and wrestling and blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. And I had already known that, they thought I looked like Bobby the Brain Heenan. And I went, oh, thank you. I didn't know what it was. About 2 months later, I broke it to her. I said, look, I'm not Bobby the Brain Heenan. And she was crushed.
When we were in Vegas last time, we were at the airport. And I couldn't believe it. There's Chuck Liddell sitting there at the airport at one of the slot machines. And I'm just like, don't you get enough as it is? Chuck's in Vegas so much. I just couldn't believe that he actually, would sit there and play the slot machines. But you were talking about some of the things with Fremont Street there. This is we saw this guy down there, and you literally couldn't tell him apart from the real Gene Simmons seeing that.
Yeah.
And then you got to remember, this is 20 years ago, but this was the ceiling over Fremont
it's still
Street.
there like that. They've actually upgraded it with new LED lights, but yeah, it's the same thing.
Now they still have the zip lining on Fremont.
Yep. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Someone had I think we'd already gone over that topic about the free bus ride. Now, see, we didn't even know anything about the bus. We rode around, the free shuttle. We rode around the accordion buses, the ones that were split. Now, is that the ones you're talking about that are kind of unsafe?
That's the city bus. That's the city bus. Yeah. But you can get on really cheaply because they go up and down the strip, and it's easy to get on and off of them.
Yeah. I'm trying.
And we got another thing. I mean, since we're in Vegas transportation, Elon Musk, right? He's got a company called the Boring Company where they actually bore under the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, he did the Boring Company at the Las Vegas Convention Center. They did a boring tunnel underneath to connect the south, north, and west halls, and then they bored over to the new Resort World, right? And literally, you can take a Tesla. They have Teslas whenever there's a convention in town, and you can take a Tesla, get in it, and somebody drives you down through these tunnels from one hall to the next because it's quite a long walk, right? So anyway, it was such a success that they've approved doing the boring between all the hotels and all the way out to the airport for like a subway system, basically for Las Vegas. And that got approved, and they're apparently in progress on it. The thing that amazed me, though, with this Boring Company is that I grew up in Washington, D.C. when I was a teenager, and they put in the metro there, the subway underground, and they would tear up the streets, and they'd be torn up for months and years while they built the stations and all that. We didn't notice anything with this Boring Company. They dig in and they go underneath everything. Oh, yeah. And you don't even know they're there. It's pretty amazing. There was no interruption at all. Sorry. It's a total tangent.
No, that is very amazing.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Elon Musk is pretty amazing,
Well, he was trying to do something called a hyperloop for the Teslas and all that.
That's also part of it too. The hyperloop was where you'll actually go faster like a bullet train floating on air in a tube. Yeah, no, he's amazing.
Oh yeah, he think what you want about him, but the guy is brilliant. And
he's way ahead of his time. He's the Thomas Edison of our time.
Yeah, he's literally talking about transplanting humans to another planet, creating a micro sun over each of the poles through nuclear fission, and then creating their own environment on the planet, making it sustainable for humans to be able to live there and have their oxygen and everything else that's needed. It's insane that they're the things that he's coming up with and the way they're grasping these challenges. It's amazing to me.
It is amazing.
I
was going to tell you one other thing. It's a different subject, but we did a tribute video yesterday, and Mike Rinder was on our channel for the first time. And we've known Mike forever, but he's been sick, and he's doing great now, which we're really happy about. But Janice and I know him really well. But he came on, and the reason is we did a tribute to a gentleman by the name of Kerry Gleason, and Kerry Gleason is very important in the history of Scientology and the Sea Organization. He literally was the last executive director international who got removed by David Miscavige. And this guy, Kerry, he was my senior. He was beloved, and he literally was expanding Scientology in the 1970s and early 80s like never before. Wow. And until Miscavige took him out, along with a lot of other people, and kicked him out, he literally, Scientology would be a lot bigger. Now, if that's good or bad, nobody knows, right? But he was a main dude, right? Anyway, he passed away last week at the age of 75, and he'd been friends with all of us. And Mike Rinder was Kerry was his first senior, his first boss when he was in the Sea Organization for years. He was like his right-hand man. So anyway, he came on and we did this tribute, and we had several former Sea Org members who knew Kerry really well come on and talk about him and all that. So just if anybody's interested in the history of Scientology at all, just go to our channel and just watch A Tribute to Kerry Gleason. Just a tremendous individual, tremendous man. He was hugely successful. After he left Scientology, he got kicked out. He didn't leave, him and his wife. He became hugely successful as a personal efficiency expert in Europe for banks and businesses. And he made millions of dollars doing that. But anyway, it's just something that, we just recently did. And it was great that Mike came on. We were really appreciative of that.
Yeah, it's, to me, it's amazing that, there's so many stories that we don't know about. But of course, there's a lot of people who don't want to make anything of it. They want to just live their lives quietly. We're gonna have to address it. People are asking about the situation going on with Goldie, and here's the point: Goldie has resigned from all of the SPTV channels. I'm not going into what the reasoning is and everything, but there is more to it than just what happened. She's never done anything to me. But Goldie has decided to step down and remove herself from all the channels. So that's what's going on. She isn't kicked off. She still has her badge as the boss mama moderator and everything. And the whole time that I've been on here doing this, she's been nothing but wonderful, multitasking between several different channels at the same time. So that's as far as I'm going to go into it. There are a lot of people who are truly hurt, and we have to be respectful of pretty much everyone. So she's felt that the best point for her is to step down and remove herself from all the channels. So, Mark, if you got anything on that.
Yeah, I just was going to say, I don't even know what the controversy was. All I know is that Goldie was awesome as a moderator. And I think most people who are in the chats would agree with me. And I've never met Goldie. I've had email communication back and forth. When whatever controversies came up, she emailed us and asked us, what we thought. And I told her, just ignore it, because in my opinion, whatever attacks coming her way or anybody else's way, OSA, Office of Special Affairs, is behind it, because what they try and do, this is their modus operandi, is find somebody and then go after them and attack them. And if they can't attack people like big channels like Aaron and Mike Rinder and all that, well, then they go after other people that are associated with them. And that's just what happens. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to see that she's gone. I mean, I would love to, we told her, hey, continue. We're happy with you here. But, she had to make the choice that she had to make.
It's and if anybody knows, Liz Ferris, I have she's like an adopted daughter to me. My daughter is very open about being out, and so I do have very strong ties with the LGBT community, and but the first thing that when this happened is I went to my daughter, and she's like, yeah, but it's a year ago, and she everything that was being said. But, I'm like you. I didn't know about it till all of a sudden I started receiving all these emails. And then I find out from the other content creators, other things that have been going on. So it was a real shock to me that all this had happened. I thought it was interesting, the timing of it. But, it is what it is. Things have happened. She's removed herself to help not. It was going to get to the point where it would have started dividing the SPTV society here, folks. And so she decided that the best thing would be for her to step down. So
and I'm completely in the dark about the whole thing, because I block out anything, any noise or any attacks or whatever. I just ignore them, because I know where they're coming from. And, there's no reason to get, bogged down by it. Look, everybody makes mistakes. I've made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And so, I'm sorry that she's gone, but that's her choice to make, and she made that choice.
Yeah, and it's This is where it's at.
Hey, I want to ask on a separate subject. I want to ask Clearwater Chad something. A few weeks ago, I actually looked at a short, and it was you attacking, like you were Marty Rathbun or something.
Oh yeah, those are my favorite ones.
Aaron, and I thought, what's Chad up to? And then I realized that you were reading something, just making fun of it. I had no idea. I thought, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a parody. That was, let me think which one that was. That was yeah, I was Marty, and I was, because it was a video 6 years ago that Marty did a reaction video to when Aaron was on Leah's show. So that was that was what Marty did 6 years ago to Aaron.
It took me about a minute to figure that out.
That's so funny.
And Marty, that it wasn't real. You weren't really saying
the
that.
The character Marty is running for. He's running. I wish I had my notes. He's
running for Clearwater Council.
He's running for Clearwater Council, and he's got a gas tax. It's up to $1 a gallon, so people are getting upset about that.
He, the Mike and Mark and Claire Headley, they did a great, Christy, they did a great video Monday night, I think it was, Tuesday night, on Marty and what he's been up to in his whole history. Yeah. It was really interesting watch.
Yeah, One Love, you got to get over there and check those out. He's doing these great ones of Marty Rathbun, and it's hilarious. Mark, for how long has it been now that you've been coming on and jumping into my life, Chad?
Me?
Oh, since
Chad. Oh no, Chad.
Since we met.
Yeah, Chad's been on here on and off.
January.
To this day, I still get people, Mark, that are telling me Chad is Osa, and I need to be careful of him.
Yeah, no, don't listen to that. Listen, we have people that have told us and various channel creators that a certain individual who I'm not going to name is a plant or is Osa, and if you knew what this person has done to back up and paid for attorneys and this and that, there's no way. Plus, I've known this person for 40 years. There's just no way. And it comes from out of left field, and you just go like, are you kidding me? I don't even want to listen to it,
Yeah. There's always, anytime there's a community like this, there's drama, and then you add into it the aspect of the Scientology and OSA and all the things that they do. There's always going to be some kind of discord going on. Now, Kristen, why Aaron Levinsmith or Aaron gets so many views? There's a lot to play into it. Number one, he hit the algorithm, and he hit it hard. He's putting out content every day, sometimes multiple times a day, which that's one of the ways you hit the algorithm, is just blowing out content after content after content. Then he does a lot of he did Spotify with Lex Friedman, which is one of the largest podcasters in the world.
He got a million views on that.
Yeah. And so you've got that. And then you've got, he was just on, what is Cuomo? Yeah. So he was on with him, and that, boom, he blew up. And once you start,
and it's the same thing with the people that were on Leah Remini and the Scientology and the Aftermath, Mark, Claire. I mean, people know them from those shows. Aaron was on that show,
Think about if that show came out now as the original broadcast of each one of those, what that would be doing for those folks' their channels at this time. It'd be explosive. They'd all be well into the 300,000-400,000, if not million subscriber range. So, that's the crazy thing about it, is it's just you hit that algorithm and it's there. And
you and I were chatting beforehand too, John. There are a lot of channels out there now on SPTV, a lot, and my concern is to you, the viewers, because you have to pick and choose what to watch. You don't have, enough TVs and everything and computers to watch everybody's channel at the same time. So I would really like to see coordination a little bit, but by the same token, we just decided, Janice and I, we're just going to put out our shows. We'll do recordings and videos. And if we get views, great. And if we don't, That's okay. We're just going to put out good content. And by putting out good content, hopefully people will appreciate the quality and they'll continue to watch. And, I'm not into competing with anybody in terms of how many subscribers or viewers they have. Obviously we want subscribers. We're like at 9,000, almost 9,100. And, my goal when we started our channel was just to be able to, do good, get monetized, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. I thought, well, that'd be doing pretty damn good,
Right.
But it's actually grown since then. And at our channel, we're going to get to a mode where we're just putting out a couple of videos a week or a live stream, once a week. And that's it. And because we got tons of people who've reached out to us who want to do shows, want to be on our show. So we have endless stuff, but we don't want to flood the channel with so much stuff that it gets missed, because we've got videos. Sorry, my dog is
it's all right.
whining out there. Sorry. We don't want to put out, we've got stuff on our channel that we did 5 months ago, great interviews with people, and a lot of new viewers, they don't see it because, like everybody, like me, when I go to somebody's channel, I don't look at the stuff they did in the past. I'm watching what they're doing now, So we're trying to make stuff that's valuable for people to, browse and, like a library almost.
Exactly. And that's why, I try to mix mine up between the DIY, the travel, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm doing the travel channel, because it's something fun to do. To me, I don't paint and I don't draw. I don't have any hobbies, but I actually enjoy creating the stuff on the YouTube channel. So I thought, well, I like to travel. Maybe I'll just do a channel on that. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and that's why I hope people will subscribe to it.
I'm finding that with a lot of people who are subscribing now, they are they're going back and they're looking at my older content. And I notice every day I'm getting new comments, new things on all of my old stuff. And it's great to see that people are actually going back. So hopefully you're going to start seeing the same thing. And let's see, Kristen, you'd said you feel that people are afraid to say anything against Aaron. I can tell you personally, I have nothing bad to say about Aaron. If I need to talk to him, I can text him. I may not be able to get a response immediately, and that's because that guy is busy. But he will answer back. He will help me the best that he can. If I don't want to bother him, I just I'll hit him up through a different means. But I've never had a problem with him responding to me, and he's always wanting to be helpful. And that's one of the reasons why when Chad was first starting, one of the things I did was pay it forward. Aaron gave me a lot of great advice during the time, so I paid it forward. And and it's great to see Chad is helping so many other people out now because he's paying it forward. But I don't have anything bad to say about Aaron other than I wish he would give me half his subscribers. I'd be happy with that. But, I don't have anything bad.
About you, Mark? Yeah.
And that's like, Janice and I, we like going on other people's channels that maybe don't have as many subscribers because, like you said, pay it forward. I don't mind helping anybody. Like I said, I'm going to go. Apostate Alex has more subscribers than us, but I'm happy we had him on our channel, and he's awesome.
And John, I've done your show. Welsh, he's not going to have any subscribers. So Russell Miller,
and then John, I was on your show the first time. You're awesome, and I told Janice, and she went on and she goes, "God, John's awesome." So all the people that we've dealt with SPTV are really great. So, Lara FM she's a totally different flavor for people, but she's really cool. So we're trying to do some of that too.
And that's the thing is, I hear a lot of people that want to hear about drama and infighting and things like that. But for the most part, you don't see that in this community. There's a common enemy that everybody's looking at. But for me, we do so much serious content that I need to break it up. I need diversity. That's why Chad and I do the car talk with me and Chad. And we bring other people in for that as well. And then I do a lot of my travel stuff and the DIY just because I need a break from it. It gets too serious and sometimes it gets really deep.
I just thought of something, Poe. We all do travel stuff. I haven't done it in a while, but I do some Buffalo monuments and stuff. Poe does stuff. So we three should maybe do something once in a while with, keep doing this or whatever.
our buddy
Absolutely.
Nasty Nathaniel, he got Chad went out and tried First Amendment auditing a couple times.
Yep.
So, I mean,
it was only a couple, Poe.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. We've had some controversial videos, right? But basically, like we had this guy Robin Scott come on. He was the guy who stole the Ned for OTs, the OT levels, back in 1983 from the organization in Denmark by wearing a fake Sea Org uniform, going in and taking the materials. And he's one that's responsible for them coming out, right? Well, he's a very eccentric gentleman from England, okay? And he's very eccentric, and I like him a lot, right? But he's got some controversial views. Not only does he still consider himself a Scientologist, even though he's declared and he's not in Scientology, and he also considers that he's still a Sea Org member, even though he's not in the Sea Org. He also was a cannabis farmer in the UK, and he got put in jail for growing cannabis, apparently the strongest cannabis in the UK, according to him. And then he's into the yoga, and he's just a character. He's really interesting, but some of his viewpoints saying, "Oh, I still believe in a lot of the stuff in Scientology and all that." We had viewers push back on that, and I basically said, "Look, some people may believe it and some people don't, but that doesn't mean that we're going to shut people's out. I'll have anybody on." And then somebody commented saying, "Well, what if David Miscavige wanted to come on your channel?" And Janice and I said, "Please come on our channel. We would love to have Dave Miscavige on our channel."
I've actually
so we put out an open invitation. Say, "Come on our channel, please. We would love it."
I've actually emailed and asked if he would be willing to come on for an interview. So believe me, you get person who gets David Miscavige on in this time, their channel's going over 1 million subscribers overnight.
And then Apostate Alex, he did we did a Q&A with him or like a debate with him and Robin last Friday, and it was fabulous. And they have differing views on things, but that's okay. That we live in an open forum. And the thing that was really great about it was when we got to the end of it, we went, when we were in Scientology, we could have never had this debate because L. Ron Hubbard was 100% right all the time in everybody's mind. So it's just a healthy discussion, and we had a good time. And Alex, I think, and Robin, they've been in touch, and maybe they'll be doing some more shows together. But it was a lot of fun.
It's good. I just did the one with Alex the other night, and it was it was International Slavery Day, and that was such a great. We only did an hour, but I think that one could have gone 4 or 5 hours with no problem. We were all really back and forth, a lot of great conversation. I think that those are the best ones when we all get together and collaborate and do things together. And, it proves that there's no real hostility going on, even though a lot of people want to try to say there is.
No, and I like to talk. I like to not talk, but I like to talk to people. I like good conversation. Like people ask you, "Oh, what's your favorite thing to do?" I'll tell you, my favorite thing to do is sit around a campfire or a fire with a bunch of people that I don't know who they are or whatever, and just chew the fat, as they say, or shoot the what. It's just fun just learning about different people and their viewpoints and opinions. And I'm not talking about debating politics and all that where it gets out of hand. I'm just talking about interesting things like wrestling or going to Japan, you know what I mean? Or waterfalls with Chad or whatever it is we're going to talk about. It's just
Marty's campaign.
The Marty's campaign. It's just fun to talk to people,
Yep.
And it's that's the thing is we all have a lot of things we have in common that people don't even realize, and there's such a deep history of everyone who's on the channels, and I just love sharing it, and just getting finding out all these nuances, like finding out what Janice had to say about sitting there on the deck listening to Hubbard, looking up at the stars with his brandy or his whiskey in his hand, talking about galactic wars and everything. It's to me, that's awesome stuff. Chad, check the private chat there real quick.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But that's those are things, finding that out, talking to Karen and Jeffrey. I think Jeffrey and I I really love doing the stuff with Jeffrey Augustine.
Oh yeah.
I
did interviews with him. He interviewed me 10 years ago. And I loved it because he was so informed about what he was talking about. It wasn't like talking to somebody who had no idea what Scientology was. He was awesome.
Uh, and I just I talk to Karen probably once a week nowadays. Um, I'm trying to type something in real quick.
I talked to Karen. Karen calls me, or vice versa. We've been
Yeah.
friends. I've known her since 1978.
And
A
you
long
don't
time.
miss that voice. Boy, I tell you, she is such a doll babe too.
Yeah.
I love, talking to her and hearing everything and all that. Yeah, real good people. So, we're just trying to take care of things behind the scenes here while we're doing it. We're not ignoring anybody
Yeah.
or anything. Let's see. Trying to look through these. Let's see. Do we have? I know we got the last one from Alex. Yeah, Marjan, that's true. We don't have to agree on everything, and we're not going to.
Doesn't that make life interesting?
Yeah, it's the diversity of it that makes things better. It makes it,
Yeah.
it,
Trust me, I was in a cult where everything was 100% L. Ron Hubbard, or you weren't.
yeah.
It was that, or there was no black or white. It was this, you know.
It,
Um, so I love the free form exchange of ideas.
and it's like with Alex night before last, or what that might have been last night. I don't even remember right now, but we, here it is. He had Katie, and then he had Jeff from PTS for Life, and himself on there as former members of Scientology who were explaining that, all of the reflections between slavery and what's going on in Scientology. And then he brought me on because, as a former police officer and someone who worked with human trafficking, I have real boots on the ground experience with a lot of that stuff that's going on. And it's it's that kind of diversity that creates really good content for everybody to watch. So yeah, it's amazing stuff. Yeah, Alex, that was great. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Can I put in a plug real quick? I
You
just
go
checked
ahead.
my channel, my new one, Las Vegas Travel and More, and I'm at 293 subscribers. So I've added 20 subscribers.
Yep.
I just need 7 more to hit 300. So
That's
if you're
awesome.
watching and you haven't subscribed, please do. You can see down at the bottom there, it's scrolling across. Please subscribe to my channel. You'll really enjoy it.
And I put the link in there a couple times. So, and folks, if you are in the market and you want a Roscoe mug, so Roscoe
Nice.
approves.
Those are nice.
The link is in there. Reefer Ricky got one. I know he ordered one, and someone else had ordered one of the Roscoe t-shirts. But I'm going to throw the link back up there for Mark's new channel. So make sure you get over there and you check that out.
And you can order a Mofo Mark t-shirt. Just go down in the comments on my channel and you can order it. They're in various colors. You can actually get them in any color and size and all that. But if you want to be Mofo Mark, just so people know who don't know why I'm Mofo Mark, it's because the Office of Special Affairs, that was David Miscavige's nickname for me in their confidential documents. I found this out in 2006, and they referred to me as a mofo. And so I just embracing it, I'm taking it on. Yeah, I am a bad mofo. You don't mess with me.
You need a caricature of him pointing and yelling at the Mofo Mark logo. That's what you need. That would be awesome.
And then, of course, just don't forget, guys, if you want information on Marty's campaign, it's at Clearwater Chad's channel. We got graphs and everything. We're going to be working on that until November 3rd, and Marty asked you for your vote.
You're Clearwater Chad 9037?
Yep.
You can change that, right?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, you have the ability to change your at.
Oh, okay.
So you might want to check that out and see if you can secure it. That was, once you became monetized, you started. That was one of the things you could do. So,
okay.
I'm trying to see if we have other things going on. Oh, how was it talking to Russell Miller, Mark?
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's elderly, but I've dealt with a lot of elderly Sea Org members and Scientologists and stuff. But no, I just wanted to convey how important his book was to me. And I think it came across. I hope so. And he's an awesome. I'll repeat one thing that I said to him, which is that what I loved about his book, Barefaced Messiah, was that it didn't come from a point of view. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like talking down. It just was presenting the facts and the stories that were researched and footnoted and all that. I mean, it really opened my eyes, because, there's a lot of propaganda about Hubbard that we bought when I was in Scientology. And I'm reading this stuff and seeing documents and all that. And I'm going like, wow, you know what I mean? It just things that I didn't know. So anyway, I really appreciated that. Like, this is a real journalist. This is not some opinion guy throwing around, hand grenades. You know what I mean?
And I'd had several people that had asked me about being able to jump on and talk to him real quick. And I was like, the guy's over 80 years old, and you can clearly tell he's very done with everything that's gone on because of the fair gaming that he went through. And I was like, oh, and then I talked to you and I was like, we got to get Mark on there. I said, he needs to know how important he is to all the people that have come out of Scientology and read his book. And the thing is that, you, without a doubt, you were the most passionate about it. I said, we got to get Mark in there. I want him to see how people feel, and I want Mark to be able to let him know how he feels. So, yeah, that was a real good one. I loved seeing that. And, he's one of those people, he doesn't like to hear the nice comments and everything, but that it was definitely something that had an effect on him. And big thank you to Apostate Alex, who helps guide him through some of the connection stuff and all that, and as a base for it. If you folks don't know, Apostate Alex does a lot for everybody in this community that are content creators. He's the guy works his butt off on top of what he does to make an actual living, because we certainly don't make a living off of YouTube. No. You've got to be up there really big to where you're starting to see any money. And then with me, I get hit with community guideline violations on almost every video I put out. I lose all of my super chats and things like that. That's why I don't want super chats on my channel. That's why I started the fourth wall and buy me a coffee, because I don't want YouTube taking money that you earned and wanted to give to this channel in a sign of appreciation. I don't want that happening. So that's why I started those other options on it. But yeah, you're not and every dime I make off of this goes right back into new equipment. And I've got some things coming up. I have a huge motorcycle trip I want to do. And so I want to make sure I have the right equipment for doing it. And you're welcome, Alex, but there's no need to say thanks, because we all appreciate you and we all want to say thank you to you. So yeah, don't worry about that. I think we got a glimpse of how much everyone loves Alex when he went MIA for a day. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Everybody on here has been helped, or something that Alex has done has helped each and every one of our channels. So yeah, we love Alex. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at some of the questions there. What was I going to say? So, you were talking about going, having been over to London. I've been over as well. And the wife and I are talking about making a trip over there. I was talking to Alex. All I want is a real fish and chips and a pint of Guinness properly drawn. That's the two things I want to see most. And now Russell Miller has said, you come over and come have a beer with me. So Alex was like, yep, he's only like an hour away. We can go do that and have just a nice visit with him. So I think that would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, London's an amazing city. It was very expensive, like I said, when I was over there. It probably still is now, but I can see why. After I was there, I was thinking I could see why U.S. celebrities like living in England, like Madonna at the time was living there and all that, because it's a fabulous city. It really is.
Yeah, it's the thing.
I got into the royal family big time too after that.
You need to go over to Japan and hit Sapporo for the winter festival over there.
Yeah.
And that's where all the big famous beers are made in Japan, as in Sapporo. So there's actually a Sapporo brand there. So, but you go over there, they have this huge festival, and it's all about the beer and winter and all that. And that, you're talking about getting away from Tokyo. That's one of the big ones to hit. Yeah. Let's see here. Now we got a lot more comments coming in. Nasty Nathaniel. He's in the chat right now. That's our boy. So Yeah, he's scared of Chad, but you know, we're trying to work him out of that. So
No, we're trying to meet up someday.
yeah, we got to get him over here. Oh, I don't know about that, Nathaniel. I'm just an old dumb hillbilly. That's what I am. So let's see, trying to think of some other things, because you know, there's so much that we just don't ever get to just sit and talk about things. Sometimes after the live streams, we'll sit and we'll debrief and all that, but we don't just get to do you know, everything's about getting an episode together because we're all so busy and all that. What are some of the things that you're really happy with about how Vegas is now as compared to how it was, or are you unhappy?
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that are different, but you know, it's hard for me to say that I would want to live anyplace else. The main thing that keeps me here is my mother just turned 93 in September, and she lived on her own until a year ago here in Las Vegas. You know, I lived a mile away, but now she needs care, and so she's in a group home, and I'm here as long as she's here.
Right.
But you know, because I played with the idea of living overseas when I retired, but you know, I'm here as long as she's here. But I tried 10 years ago. I took a job in Colorado, and I moved to Colorado Springs in August, Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I lasted 2 weeks, and I was so bored there. Everything shut down by like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then next thing I knew, I'd been to Pikes Peak. I'm not an outdoors person. I'm thinking, you know, it's going to snow like crazy in about a month and a half here, and I'm going to be so unhappy. So I just packed up my car and I drove back to Vegas.
Yeah, that cold there compared to what you've been living in. Ooh.
Well, and just the 24-hour nature of the town, you know, we take it for granted here because you could pretty much do just about anything any time of the day.
Grocery shop anytime you want to. You know, there's so much, like you said, it's a 24-hour town that never sleeps. So
and my favorite Rodney Dangerfield's one of my favorite comedians of all time. Oh, hands down the funniest, right? But he'd tell a joke. He'd go, you know, they got slot machines in the grocery store. I went in to buy a gallon of milk. It cost me $225.
That's, you know, and that was the thing that got me, is you would literally go into a convenience store or something like that, and there's slot machines, and you're just like,
yeah,
wow.
But you can't live here. You can't live here. Like we got you get gambling out of your system within the first 6 months if you're not going to be a gambler. Because literally, when you first get in here, oh yeah, you're putting money in. You think, and then you realize that you may as well throw it in the toilet and hit the flush button because you're not going to win. You know, and there's exceptions to everything, but the odds are not in your favor. So what was great when we moved here in 1991 was taking advantage of the low cost buffets and all the great inexpensive things that you could do and the shows you could go see. You know what I mean? And that was what was amazing. But now we have huge attractions. The biggest thing going on right now is this big Sphere arena. I don't know if you've seen it. It
looks awesome.
Yeah, the guy who owns Madison Square Garden Entertainment, he built it, and he was building it before COVID, and then it stopped. But anyway, it's like $2.5 billion he spent on the place. It holds 17,500 people, and U2 is the featured performers there. They have a residency there, and they just signed on for 12 more shows going into the new year. But it's got LED lights all over the outside of the thing, and you can see videos on YouTube and stuff. But inside, it's got a whole floor to ceiling video wall, and apparently it's very disoriented. Like if you're not careful, you can get motion sickness, you know what I mean, with all the lights, because it basically wraps completely around you, and they're changing all the time, and people, you got to pay attention. They say, you know, particularly when you're walking up to your seats because they're so steep, you got to be very careful.
Oh, okay, yeah,
there it is. There
we went to there's a place we've been waiting to open in Nashville. They're doing a complete indoor drive-in theater, and basically they'll have like 57 Chevys, 1950s Cadillacs, all those different kinds of things. And you buy your ticket, you get to go in, and you're assigned a vehicle to sit there and watch the movies from. We've been waiting for that one to happen. That's going to be awesome. We love the
when we didn't know what they were going to put in there besides U2. Now that it's open, they have a movie that was directed by a famous director named Darren Aronson. Darren Aronofsky, sorry.
Yeah,
And he did a whole like I don't know if you ever went to Disneyland back in the day where they had these motion rides where like going all over the country and all that. Well, it's a similar type thing with wildlife and scenes and stuff like that. And it's like an hour and 15-minute movie, and you can actually go in during the daytime, but it's $59 a ticket to go in. And then the seats move, and they put in smell-o-vision, and you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like if there's flowers, you're going to smell the flowers. It's like a complete immersive experience.
So like a 4D
so they had to have something during the daytime that they could do to keep people in there.
It's like a 4D experience or something like that. I think they call that stuff. And then I wanted to hit this one real quick. R.A. Schlater, guys, keep up the great work, all the great work, all the love from Israel. RA, you stay safe over there, and keep your eyes in your back of the head, or praying for peace to come about over there. I don't get into any political sides or anything like that. I want to see peace. I want to see people not in danger. Let's see here. Was that? Oh yeah, Gencel. I'm a Coloradoan in New England. Colorado snow is nothing, and I've almost slid my car off a mountain. Well, I could tell you, Chad could tell you too. He gets lake effect snow over there where he's at. We get it here in Michigan, and then any East Coast state is going to get that horrendous snow coming off the ocean. So yeah, that stuff up there is nothing compared to like the 8 foot of snow they'll get in Grand Rapids, Michigan, or Buffalo, New York. And
my comment was basically the cold. I mean, I'm not used to 0 degree temperatures or below zero. I just am not used to that. So I was like, I got to go back to Vegas.
That's a mild winter for us. So
cold for us is in the wintertime. We'll get about 34, 35 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cold, but that's rare when that happens. And we've had it snow here a couple of times in the 30 years I've been here.
When the wife and I went, we got to Vegas. It was in the 80s and 90s the whole time we were there. We get back, and it's 14 degrees here in Michigan.
Oof.
And you talk about just the biggest shock of your life. So yeah, let's see. Wendy Moore, we lived in Belfast, Ireland for 1.5 years. We did not like the food in Great Britain. Nothing like USA bacon, baby. Now
I didn't want to say anything, but I was going to agree with you. The fish and chips is really good, but a lot of the food is bland. And I've never seen in England when I was there, they had, instead of ketchup on the table, they had brown sauce, Heinz brown sauce. And it's so bland. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, that's the older stuff. The food is really coming around in England in the last decade or so. There's a lot of new flavors and tastes that are coming out. But yeah, if you're talking about the traditional stuff, when I was over there, we went to a place that did eel pies. That was crazy. Bangers and mash. I always like it. Plus, I mean, if you can give me enough hot sauce, I'll like anything that you feed me. So. Let's see. Joel McCoy has lived in Colorado his whole life. Can't take high heat. It's what you're used to. And I've got to agree. When I was my first time going to Thailand, it was insane. I walked out the doors of the airport. The airport's air conditioned, nice and comfortable. I walked out the doors, and the air instantly felt thick and heavy. And it was so hot. But then, after spending the first part of the year down in Malaysia and Southeast Asia there, you kind of get used to it. I've got a friend that's been living there for 12 years. There isn't a day that goes by he doesn't soak his shirt wet because he's sweating so much.
You got to get acclimated to it. When I'm there, I sweat like profusely, but I always would carry a hand towel. I've always, because I don't like sweating. And you could also buy these little alcohol like rag things. You go like this, and they're cool, and then you can cool yourself off. But the Thai people, they're totally acclimated to it. They don't even they barely sweat. It's really pretty amazing.
If it gets below 80 degrees, they're putting on a windbreaker. They're getting cold. It's hilarious to see my buddy. He's big like I am, and his wife is a very tiny little Thai woman. She's like 5'1", weighs maybe 103 pounds. And it's hilarious because she'll be sitting there with a jacket on, a long sleeve, full pants and everything. He and I are walking around in, what do you call it? we're walking around in the tank tops and shorts and sandals, and we're just dripping, and she's walking around like she's just so cold. So, and
That's funny. You reminded me of one thing. I'm 6'1", and I'm a big guy too, right? But one of the things I love about Asia, like in the United States, I'm small. I mean, there's people who tower over me. I mean, I don't stand out like taller than other people. But when you go over to Asia, oh my God, I'm head and shoulders taller. Like you can spot me anywhere because the people are so short and so small. And it used to be funny. It used to drive me. I always thought it was hilarious because I'm a big guy, right? Where somebody would be like a Thai person or whatever, they'd be rude like at the store, and they'd like be bumping to try and get in front of you. And I go, what's that fly that just hit me? It's just like I didn't budge 1 inch. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, it's my daughter and I. There's a place in Tokyo called Sensoji Shrine, and it'll generally there'll be 10,000 people walking around this shrine in Tokyo. And so we're walking through there, and my daughter's just laughing and laughing. And I said, "What's so funny?" And she said, "You look like Hagrid walking through Hogwarts." And then I realized that I'm like, oh my goodness. It wasn't until I saw other Westerners that I didn't feel so big. And there's a video that I have where I'm doing the Shibuya crossing, the Hachiko Scramble. And that's the big intersection where everybody crosses at the same time.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the video, you hear these young women or girls, they're laughing and giggling as we're walking through the scramble. When we got to the other side, my friend who's Japanese, who was with me, he said they were laughing because they couldn't believe how big a man you are. And I was like, oh, they could at least said something. But this will give you an idea. That's my buddy Dana, who lives over in Bangkok. And
oh, wow.
He's been living there for about 12 years. And they, like I said, even him, every day when he's out, he's sweating you look at his shirt, and normally you'd see like the darkening around where all the sweating was happening. No, his whole shirt's dark because it's
no. When I've been there, you shower at least a couple times a day just because you're just sweating. Yeah.
And talking about the cold, you hit places like Minnesota and Wisconsin. Oh my gosh. I've told the story before, but I was doing an MMA event in Wisconsin, and we pulled up at a gas station outside of the city of Wausau, Wisconsin, running probably 50 feet from the car to the front door of this gas station. By the time I got in, I'm wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, and I'm shaking so bad I can barely talk. And I look at the guy and I said, "How cold is it out there?" And he goes, "About 30 below." And I'm like, oh my gosh, because we get 10 below, 16 below here. That's common in wintertime, but 30 below, oh no, that's way out of our price range there.
I've never been in weather that cold.
Then you got Jen here. I get it. My Texan cousin is still complaining about the 90s. I shoveled Chicago snow taller than I am. In Nevada, my parents had a scorpion problem. Pick your poison. So you have that problem there with the scorpions?
Scorpions, they have them, but I've never had that. It depends on what part of the the city you're in, the desert.
Yeah, and I was stationed in Fort Huachuca in southern Arizona when I was in the Army, and we had a bad problem. The scorpions were everywhere and tarantulas, but the tarantulas never bothered you. It was the scorpions that you had to watch out for.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I love Hawaii, because there's no snakes. There's no snakes in Hawaii. I hate snakes. That's one of the things about Thailand and Southeast Asia is there's snakes all over the place, and I can't stand snakes. So that's one of the positives about Hawaii that got rid of them years ago.
I've been a herpetologist most of my life.
I know you are. You showed me that last time.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I've got to run. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Well, but thank you very much, though.
For me, really I've got my dog bothering me. You know how it goes. I wanted to tell everybody I'm 4 subscribers away from 300. So if you go to @mfisherlv and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I think you'll find some great content. We're just brand new, so I've only got like 3 or 4 videos there. But stick around. I think you'll find some interesting stuff there when I get it.
I like the content I was seeing, and it's. Here's a question for you. Do you remember the blizzard back in the 70s that hit the United States?
No.
Chad, you remember that?
I heard about it.
Oh, I remember that. I was in school, and I remember being out of school for over a week, and the snow was 4 or 5 feet high, and this was in southwestern Ohio. We never got snow like that. Come up here to Michigan, family that lives up north, they're expecting it to snow within the next week. And we get 6 inches, they'll get 12. So
we were 90 degrees today, which is warm for this time of year. Normally we're like in the 70s right now, and I'll wear a hoodie in the morning. It's 64 degrees out, which I get cold easily now. I'm such a wuss. It's been so long since I've been around snow and cold, but we hit 90 degrees today, which is kind of unusual. But it's dry. There's no humidity,
right.
So
that was the big thing about Arizona is that you could go out and it felt completely different, not like Thailand where the heat actually made the air feel heavy. So, All right. Well, Mark, thank you so much. Just wanted to take a chance because we never get to sit and just BS. And I said,
no, that's good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on anytime. And I love talking to Clearwater Chad too. And and I hope Marty gets elected. And
any closing thoughts for us, Mark?
No, just I appreciate you, John. I appreciate you, Chad, and everybody in the SPTV universe. I appreciate the viewers most of all. And thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing to my channel, and also to Janice and my channel, our Scientology Stories Peeling the Onion. You can subscribe there as well. We greatly appreciate it, and we'll continue putting out good content that we hope people will like and enjoy watching.
Oh yeah, and thank you for creating the channel and sharing your experiences with us. And I've really appreciated getting to know you and Janice, and consider both of you friends. So
absolutely.
And Chad, anything from you?
Yeah, just thanks for having me on. And like you said, Mark, it's always a pleasure being with you. And we're going to be working on the campaign, like I said, Marty's campaign. And
you got it.
Folks, as you know, if you are in Scientology, you want to find your way out, the aftermathfoundation.org is going to be your best bet.
Yeah.
Everyone else, thank you for sharing your precious time with us, being here and being part of this. You're not just a viewer. Jump into the chat, be part of it with us as well. We don't all agree on everything. We're never going to agree on everything. But the big thing is that we have to be open, non-judgmental, and treat each other as though they're extended family. So with that, life is short. We get one shot. Make it count.